the microphone here. We're going to move the wireless mic over there as well. Sign in so we have record of who's speaking. Again, if you do not feel comfortable speaking tonight, that is perfectly fine. You can submit to me in writing your comments, and we will include them in the record of tonight's meeting as well, and they will be presented to the board for their consideration as well. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and current enrollment. We have two separate dates for enrollment reporting to the state of Indiana, so that's an important point, right? So as of right now, the February 2nd date, 2025, was the most recent ADM count that was submitted. It was 247 students, K through 12, in this corporation. As of this morning, and when I pulled the enrollment data this morning, we have, and we've done some innovative things in this past 6 months to try and increase enrollment and to open up additional opportunities for students to experience Eminence education. So as of this morning, we have 255 students in the traditional setting. That's face-to-face in the classroom like everybody else. In addition to that, we've opened up a virtual school option, and so far we have 14 students who have signed up for that. So we are up in enrollment as of right now. And I will say this, to maybe some of our neighboring districts, the fact that we can say that we are up 20 students, that's not a big deal to those districts. To us, that's a big deal, right? Because that's a continuance of what we want to provide to our students and our community. And it's an opportunity for growth for us and for each of our students. So again, I thank you for being here. Anything else? And so at this time, we open the floor up to your comments. If you would, make yourself down here so that we can get you the microphone and we can get you to sign in as well, but we welcome your feedback. Don't be shy.
Right there.
There'll be somebody.
Evening. This works better. No, I just know how to talk. My name's Rich Myers. First of all, I appreciate y'all having this so we can address questions. First question is, this all been addressed, so are we going to get into this and possibly be more, or what's the status on that?
Neil, you want to speak on that?
Sure. As far as is there going to be more, when we entered into this project, the goal was to seal up the building, and as we investigated, certainly we were surprised to find the structure in that condition. To tell you that there's not going to be any more, but I will say this is a significant repair and we've tried to be conservative and understand in the scope of the work. We haven't opened up every single window. We've identified key areas above windows that we know are supporting the floor. So there is a potential that we could find other concerns, but we've tried to address as many of those as we can without just completely opening up every surface, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Rich?
Yeah.
So the 3.5 million, the big number that we're talking about, getting another 2.1 or 2.5, well, that includes all the lintels. So that's structurally everything outside. That includes the lintels, the windows, not just the ones you just seen, but all of them.
Right.
So, I mean, it's an old building, sure, you can find more, but I wouldn't expect, if you're replacing all the lintels and all the windows, there's not a whole lot more other than brick to go wrong from there.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and that's going to be replaced with all new type windows.
yes.
Every today's one is exactly, which is not how that. Second, the age of this, and because it is historical, have we, Historical Society, we checked into any of that for funding, for grants?
It's not historical.
Oh.
It's not a historical landmark. Randy Moss is here somewhere. There's Randy right there. He's with the, he's the president of the Morgan County, History Museum.
Yes,
And
and museum.
The museum, yes, and he does mark those buildings historic, and it is not historic at this time, by definition.
So what is the definition? Could it be historic?
Yeah, it could be, yes, and I think you should go that direction. There's a lot of businesses like the Cook Foundation, the King's Foundation.
You want to come up here? Hang on. I'm sure these people up here can hear you. I'm Bob Barker. Thanks for coming down.
I think there's a lot of different ways you can look at this. Even the DNR, the Cook Foundation, which has really been big, I've worked with them, and they're usually matching. Say if you've got, say, $3 million, maybe if they have the funds, things are a little tighter right now, but they could come with 1.5 or something like that. But there's a lot of Indiana Historic, they're good to work with, and you start out and get you on the National Register of Historic Places. We have several in Morgan County already on the National Register. Hall's one of them. The old jail, Grass Force is another. Not of this size, don't get me wrong. So it's a little bigger challenge, but I see what the challenge is. I've had a chance to watch this and presented it well. And I know what the situation is. I'm dealing with a historic building right now that has similar problems with it. So I know exactly what you're dealing with. And we'd be willing to help any way we can, or to get you where to go and get some assistance. And I don't see why we couldn't do that. And it just takes some work. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you. And I have one more really good question, and I can't remember what it was. Well, I know one. So how much do we have invested in the old building now?
We stopped work as soon as we found this and brought it to the board's attention. So there has been some investment because of mobilization, and we removed ceilings and we started construction at that point. But the majority of the 1.1 million that is being deducted from the original contract is all in the 31 building. Okay. So we started to investigate the building envelope early and stopped all of that work until further decisions can be made.
The equipment and material is here. It had already arrived for the start of construction. So we do have material here, but that 1.1 is what had not been spent yet on installation and so on.
So what kind of timeline are we looking at? To decide, yeah, we're going to go this way, we're going to go that way.
We haven't set a time. We're doing this and then figuring out, I don't know how much time we're gonna need to, I mean, it's a big decision. So.
Yeah. Any plans, so if we demolish it, green space, another new building?
So just roughly, if it was demolished, to go back with a 12 classroom building, which would be a newer, obviously not look like that, but a new building, state of the art with bathrooms and everything we would need to open up a 12 classroom building. The original estimates, and these are way rough because we haven't had time to, how that takes, is $5 to $7 million to build a new structure and that would be, so we're at 2.5, so you're looking at another 2.5 to 5 more million for a new building.
So 7.5?
Yeah, 5 to 7 is the original number.
I can't remember the other, so come back down if anybody else wants to.
You want to ask mine?
You want this up here or just?
No,
Does she have to come down?
We just need to get names.
You don't want to?
She wants you to ask. She wants you to ask.
Well, what's your question? I'll ask.
Just that.
I charge by the number
I'll send you a check.
though. Why was the inspection done before work?
Yeah, so there was, at the time, the structure itself is encapsulated behind the brick and on the interior, the walls and the plaster wall and ceiling. So it's concealed, so without, there was no structural concerns from the exterior. And so there could have been further investigation, but there was nothing that would lead us down that path, just looking at the building from the exterior. We were anticipating having to address the lintels that we saw sagging that support the brick, but we did not anticipate finding a structural issue. So yes, there could have been further investigation, but nothing we saw led us down that path. And we're trying to be good stewards of the school and not spend those funds unless they're necessary.
Good.
No.
Part two?
So how do you come up with a price if you don't know what the scope of the work is?
We developed the scope of work to address the water infiltration issue. Based on what we saw at the time, when we put together this project, we knew that there was a water infiltration issue. We didn't know to what extent that water had deteriorated the structural beams. And so we started peeling back the brick.
And have we got a second opinion on this?
So as far as the second opinion, we've had, obviously they've looked at it, they've had their engineer look at it, we've had 2 general contractors look at it, we've had the steel guys that would actually, if we're coming out to do the lintel, and I don't know the names of these companies, but they have looked at it. There's been 6 different individuals look at it, 1 engineer has looked at it. So we as a board have discussed having another engineer look at it and getting a second opinion as far as the repairs. I don't think there's really a question of, obviously you can see the pictures, it's there, they're not trying to make money off of that. I mean, could we get a second opinion as far as what it costs to make those repairs? Absolutely. But do we need a second opinion to tell us the levels have separated? I don't think we need to spend the money for that.
I remember what my last one was, you could say that there's a risk. What's the risk? Is the building gonna fall? What are we talking about? Risk?
I don't envision a scenario in which you drive up in the morning and have a big heaping pile of debris on the ground. But that's not to say that a floor couldn't cave in. In fact, there could be something significant happen over time. Like I say, if you were to ask me to run numbers on it and do those numbers work, they don't. Based on how the severity of the deterioration. Could it last over 10 years? Yes, but it wouldn't. I wouldn't be shocked to hear that. Oh, we've got a.
There's people that I've grown up that are way older. There's people that I've grown up that are way older than me that remember being in that school building as little kids. So I would say, just as somebody that lives here and has grown up here, fix what we have. The new building that you're going to build, if you do build one, is not going to be any bigger than that one. And it's not going to be as pretty. You can make it state of the art as you want, but it's not going to look as good as that. And on another thing, if you do fix the building, are we going to have any kind of maintenance program to where it doesn't do that again? Because you can come in, fix mortar, have a program of every 10 years or whatever somebody that does that kind of work would suggest to do maintenance on what is fixed so the issue doesn't start again. In 25 years, you're back in the same spot. But that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby.
I'm too slow. Come on. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. I bobbled on down it.
Yes, I don't have a lot to say, but I graduated from here. Went to Louisville for 2 years and then came up here, finished out my high school. And later in the year, I became maintenance over the buildings. Every time it rained, we got water in the classrooms on the east side. We finally figured out what was going on. A third of the brick on the front side was starting to peel away. So we brought in a contractor to repair all that. I'm not sure the prices of the cost or anything, but I'm wondering how much the rest of that building is ready to start peeling off. So something had to give to let that brick fall. When we found it, the superintendent said, the top of that brick was out there 2 foot. We immediately put up fencing and got a hold of somebody to take a look at it.
You remember what year that was, Bill? Roughly.
Mm.
A long time ago?
It's not been that long. No, it's not been that long. I'm gonna say right at 2000.
There.
Right,
In
we haven't,
between the walls and
noticed
everything
any
like that.
signs of mold.
Okay.
But of course, the water that is getting in behind the brick is, we're not seeing any signs of mold on the plaster or anything on the interior. I think most of the water is flowing down through behind the brick and finding its way out there and collecting, obviously, on the steel.
There's 3 layers of brick.
Okay, sweet.
It's an interesting setup, but there's 3 layers, so I don't know how much water's actually coming in.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've heard through the grapevine,
Oh, yeah.
like the kid, like
Oh, it's
those
coming
guys
in.
all saw that there was water coming in. Okay. And then I'm curious if the building were to come down, our projected growth, which is not, that's amazing. We've had 20 extra kiddos and stuff like that. Is it absolutely necessary? Do we have to put a new building up anytime soon? Is it necessary? I know that we also have these wonderful new bills that are coming into place where we're getting taxed and we're getting all these, lots of money 10, 12 years down the road that our school is not going to be having unless we have this huge projected growth of all the students coming
No,
in.
as I said before, as of right now, we're at capacity in rooms,
Okay.
but we have space in each of the rooms.
So is it absolutely necessary that we don't need to build
No,
anything?
not at this time. There's absolutely, we would not anticipate a need to bring in any additional facilities to house students. Right now, and I'll just repeat it with the microphone, we are housing all of our students comfortably. We have plenty of room in our classrooms, but every room is in use. So that, I just want to clarify. Every room is in use, but there are plenty of spaces within each of those classrooms.
Plenty of seats.
Yes.
Plenty of seats in the classroom.
So ultimately, like, what does that look like from your guys' standpoint? Let's say we have kindergartners coming through. Is that going to be something that we have to worry about for them? Are they gonna make it to senior year? Do you build a whole new building, or we put all this money into fixing that? Are they gonna have a place to graduate here? Either one of those. Or if we don't replace anything, we take it down, we spend less money, are they gonna have a place to graduate?
Yeah, let me hit on the first part what you just
Okay.
asked about, do we need the building? Like he said, no, not right now, we do not need this building, but that's one of those really, really hard decisions, because we can't, enrollment has declined here for a while, but now it's hopefully on the rise, and it'll stay on the rise, and we're doing everything we can for that to happen. So that's the problem. Do we tear it down and there's nothing, and then I have to come to you guys in 5 years and say, now I need $7 million? Or do I fix it, not I, do we, the community, fix it, and enrollment stays stagnant, and we don't need it? Then I have to look at you and say, hey, I just spent $2.5 million
but we didn't need it.
What's
So-
do we know what like estimated is to even keep the upkeep, like we were saying, we have a maintenance plan for every 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, and we don't need it. What does that take away from our students?
Yeah, that, no, we don't have a number on that until it's fixed, and then we can, get off of some kind of program, but, yeah,
You're
there's,
just planning on
I
having
wish I had-
that projection, so
wish
you
I had
know
a
that takes
future-
away.
an 8-ball or whatever it's called, where you rub it and it tells you, but I don't know. So I think that as a board, that's kind of where we're at. What do you do?
Hi, I'm Patty Stockwell. I also want to add that out of those 20 students, that is our growth, is also 14 of them are virtual. So that means 14 of them will not be stepping foot in our building. Now, they can play sports because we have decided to let that take place. But 14 of those students, of that 20, will be virtual students. And that is a new program that we are offering here at Eminence as of this year, starting.
That answer your question?
I just like to think about like the kids we have here now. We want to see them finish here. You know that. I mean, I want to see my kids graduate here. You know, I want to see our preschoolers we got rolling in here in a couple days to finish here.
That's
And
all
I don't
of our
want to take
goals.
away from them.
That's our goal.
Thank you.
Is this our first year of projected growth? Because it's been my understanding for the last several years, our enrollment has been on the decline.
You are correct, and that is why, as a board, we decided to take on the virtual platform to help us with our growth. We still receive funding for those students, so the money from the state still comes to us. It's only about 85% that we get for each student, but we will still receive money for those students in the virtual setting. Like I said, that is exactly why we took on that platform, to help our numbers, because I want Eminence to be here forever. And that's why I'm on this board. My husband graduated, my kids graduated, and his family's all graduated. So their pictures are out there, and that's why we're here.
Your husband was one of my students.
He talks very highly of him.
Real quick, and that was on the 14, right? 85% of the 14 that are virtual? That was my first question. So you get 85% of the money on the virtual?
Each student is 85%.
Right, okay. Second, so what are our options, money-wise? I know if we demolish it, we've got enough money to do that, correct? So what's our options if we go the other way?
He can do it, he's better.
So what is the actual, where are we gonna get the money, is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
That's why
You
Randy's
know
here.
it.
yes.
So I'm getting there. Noah, where's the money coming from?
Yeah. Well, we're hoping the sheriff will make a huge donation.
I have for the last 15, 20 years.
Me too. So there's a couple different options, but the biggest, and the one we would probably choose to go down would be a referendum. And it's not called an operating referendum, it's called it's a different capital projects referendum to get that money. Obviously, we would explore every single option with grants and historic society, and any way we could save the taxpayers, the community money, that would definitely be it. We've started the process of finding those numbers out, but with Senate Bill 1, the new Senate bill is taking money away from all of us. We don't have a hard number for anybody yet. I wish I knew what it was, but we just don't know what that number would cost per 100 on your assessed value. I don't know that yet. So we would look into that, and we would definitely get that out to the community as soon as we got a hard number, but we just don't know. But a referendum would probably be our path.
Educating on the referendum, because that has to be on That would be next year, because I have read on that. Yeah, they changed that on Smith one also.
So
November
we
26th.
have a referendum now, but it's an operating referendum.
Right.
We only use the money for that for teachers. That's all we do is pay our teachers with that money. So this would be a totally separate one, and we can stack them, but it would be on an even year because they changed that. We can't do it on odd year.
So how does the operating referendum, in fact, when does it sunset?
2027, 28, right? Well, I don't know, I should write that down, but I don't know exactly when that would be. So they would absolutely overlap.
Okay, and that's the last one that we had, because during my candidate here, we had two wings, one sunset, one on the second, and then sunset 27, 28, so the second one would overlap it a year or two.
Yeah, it would be two separate ones, but now they changed the rule, you can't, correct me if I'm wrong, we have to have a year, what do they call it, in between. We have to have a gap year, so if we stacked our last operating referendum, they kind of overlap, so we didn't run out, then the government will not allow that now. We have to have a year, I think they call it, I call it chill year, but that's not the right word for it. A gap year where we have to go without it for a year.
You have to go without a referendum for a year.
An operating referendum, yeah, we cannot stack it on top of each other, we have to. Now, you can stack the capital one, but you can't, when this one runs out, you have to let it a year. Hopefully, I guess it runs out, hopefully on an odd year, it could be two.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bailey Cummings. I'm a teacher here. I'm not sure if I heard this answered. Timeline as far as repairing. Do we have a timeline as how long that will take?
Yeah, so we're anticipating the structural repairs, simply the structural repairs, we would anticipate about 9 to 10 months, I believe. So it would take a significant amount of time to do all the shoring. Now, depending on what the community and the board decided to do beyond the structural repairs, obviously that would extend the timeline, but just the repairs itself to address the steel beams, the photos that we shared, it would be a 9-month time frame. So hypothetically, if we started September 1, it would go into early next fall.
Say we have to tear it down. Do we have any ideas or plans on how to reuse what we can as far as historical ones? Brick, anything in there?
Because Bailey has a plan.
Oh, well, I'm no construction worker.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of things that we've talked about possibly doing if it comes to that. So nothing set in stone because we don't know which path we're going or what the community is going to lead us down.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna put my.
Correct. No, absolutely not. It will not take away. It'll be a totally separate fund that we can own, and you know how the funds are, you know, use them for certain things. It'd be totally separate, just like the operating record, only for teachers.
He said property taxes. What's that gonna do to our property taxes? There it is.
It'll go up.
Yeah, so obviously, it's gonna raise them if we do any kind of improvement. I mean, if we get a loan for anything, it's going to raise the taxes. If we do a referendum, it will. But that's what I was saying a minute ago, I think to Jess is, we don't have a hard number. I can't tell you what 2.5 million is gonna do to your taxes yet. if you went that route, I don't know that, but if you did, I don't know that yet because of Senate Bill 1, which is cutting funding for schools. So we don't have a hard number yet of what that will be, but when we get it, we will absolutely share it with the community.
He's supposed to go into junior high this year, and the fact that that's typically where the junior high goes, you guys say there are a lot of seats, but that puts a lot more kids in one classroom together. How are you gonna address that?
No, it doesn't. It will not put more kids in the classroom. We had open classrooms that we were not using, because we were using over there, so we're not doubling up classes in one classroom or anything like that. There'll still be one class per class.
And they'll still have their section.
Yeah, each
One
section.
teacher per classroom. One teacher per classroom, and they will still have a section, designated section for middle school. So it's not like they're out here floating with elementary, that kind of thing. I mean, we all do because we're a community school, but they will have their areas.
Yeah, but closing that up for now, or whatever we decide, won't affect the classroom sizes or any of that. It just, we're going to use all the classrooms we have. Thank you.
Yeah, because currently, I just want to be clear on what was even being used over in the old building. There was only one floor. I mean, you teachers that are over there could help me with that. But the top floor wasn't even being touched. It was mainly the middle floor, is that correct?
Social studies, math, reading, science, we had an empty room on the second floor, and then downstairs we had sped and another classroom that was being used.
So it's about 6 classrooms that were being utilized out of that entire building. So we were able to bring those classrooms over here and have room for them. Can I say one other thing with the old building as well, is that it was not handicap accessible. There was not an elevator over there for students if they had to be in a wheelchair or anything like that. We had to bring the classrooms down for the students. So that is one of the issues that with the old building though, is that it was not handicap accessible for the students.
Does that need to be brought up to code for any reason moving forward?
Well, it depends on the scope of the project, but obviously, depending on how far you would go with the repairs and what ultimately you decided to do, yes, potentially you would have to bring it up to current code.
Yeah, but isn't there classrooms in the bottom? The school could utilize the bottom
For the
floor
ADA.
rooms for handicapped classes or handicapped students.
And that's what they did.
Okay, I was like, that's where the ADA, we follow suit for that,
So
correct?
you could,
We are compliant right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the popcorn
I
out.
don't want to hear tomorrow. Okay, Royce Ray, I was maintenance director here for 17 years, and I brought up many times on getting it tuck pointed and repaired, and never had the money for it. Has there been any thought put into just stabilizing what we have? Kind of with a farmer's fix. Since you're talking the exterior walls, could you not put steel beams in the corners? And I kind of know the way that building's laid out, because I was down in the boiler room a lot and the waves there. And then run a header beam across the top of it. That would stabilize that floor and that edge, and you're all good. That'd be a lot cheaper to fix than, I mean, you still have to somehow extend the beams onto the outside or whatever you want to do, but you would at least be able to stabilize the floor, which is holding up the walls, which is
and you're just doing the first floor and the second floor, because the third floor is the ceiling, or the roof. And technically, all you'd have to do is the east wall and the west wall, possibly every class. I mean, you could go into every classroom. If beams are too long, you put a 10-foot beam in and double pole and another 10-foot beam, and that repairs everything.
I think that our biggest problem is going to be, yes, we can stabilize it, but that doesn't fix the water coming in.
Well, no, I know.
And so-
The tuck pointing still got to do, but you don't want to put tuck pointing on rusted beams.
We are not moving forward with rusted beams.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you stabilize it on the inside, I mean, that's still what needs to be done, whether they end up coming in and gutting it out and putting a steel beam in, just for safety factor. I mean, steel's not cheap, but that's kind of a quick, easy fix, just to hold it to where it is safe. Does that make any sense?
I think we're open to all options, and we would rely on our, our experts to provide us with guidance on what that looks like. But we would expect a variety of options on how to proceed with this.
I mean, sometimes poor people have poor fixes, but they work. Okay.
Okay, do we have any other speakers? Come on down. Come on down.
Hi, I'm Mark. Yes, I'm the draft guy. Best thing I remember about that old building was on 54 or 55, the gym before this one was over north. And we sat there for it seemed like a half a day with our books and everything else on our desk and our coats on if we was going to have to abandon that. Because that gym was burning and you could see the smoke go in front of the east window. And we was in first grade, and that was the second floor, east room, south end. I'm nervous. So, anyway, I'm 100% in favor of keeping it, no question at all. And just to be very blunt. And that's our standard. You can look at that building, and then you look north at the new jewel ship. Well, what else you look like? And it seems awful poor to me. If in 1930 we could build a school like that, and here, 2025, we can't maintain it, that's pretty bad. And I'm 100% in favor. Whatever it takes, let's get started before it deteriorates anymore. Taxes going to go up, they're going to go up anyway. And if you go ask the state to build a whole new school, you might get more attention than you want. For remodeling an old building, 93 years old, you got a lot of papers. I got amused people walking around the other day looking at it during that bicycle race. So that's our community. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you.
One other thing, I'm up here. If you guys want an architect, go to Eastern Europe. That's the best in the world.
My name's Bob Couch. I've lived in this community for 48 years, and I'm kind of still an outsider. You got to live here generations to become part of the community. But I've had 5 boys graduate from this school, and I just as soon see the old school repaired. I mean, it's going to be cheaper than tearing down, building a new building. And as far as the cost, I mean, to me, I got a little pet peeve in this community. of so many people sending their kids outside of the district. This is a good school. You know, my 5 boys, I've got 3 journeyman linemen, 1 maintainer for CSX, and a CPA, all out of this school. Nothing wrong with this school. This is a good community and a good school. So I'd like to see the old building repaired. That's my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Sands. My children have been in this district now for going on 3 years. My wife went here as a child. Her mother graduated as a child. And since my boys have been here, they apologize. They thrived in here. We came from the inner city district where they didn't want to go to school, and that's a testament to this school. Thank you. But my question is for you. The I-beams behind the seal plate, did you guys lay eyes on the actual I-beams behind the seal plate or just the seal plate? You're calling them lintels, but they're seal plates, correct?
Yeah, so the photos, I don't know if you saw the photos, but.
I did, and all I could see was the seal plate and the brick in front of it, not the actual structure.
Yeah, so
behind
as
it.
we started the scope to begin the tuck pointing and waterproofing of it, that's when we saw the condition of the steel beams. And that's when we paused and made the board aware.
The physical steel beams or just the seal plates?
The beams themselves.
And they're in disarray, no, they can't be repaired, just.
Yeah, I mean, let me pull these photos back up. Yeah, I mean, several of them are essentially gone.
And the more seal plates you pull off, you'll find more of the same, correct?
That's what we expect, yes.
Okay, that was the only question I had, because when you're looking at the pictures, you see the seal plate, and the bricks, they're made to come out to replace those seal plates. That's why they ran the opposite direction.
Yep.
So I just didn't know if you had physically, if your company had laid eyes on the
beam,
structure
on the
itself,
beam
because
themselves,
you keep
yes.
referring to those seal plates as structural, and they're just not.
Yeah, the plates carrying the brick, yeah.
Yes.
So that we witnessed some of those were sagging. And so we were anticipating replacing the sagging seal plate. Yep. But this photo, so this is a photo of a beam that's still in good condition. I think this was on the south side of the building.
Now, I don't know how the code was in the 30s. What was it built in 30s? But seal plates today are L-shaped just like that, so that's why it was confusing to me.
Yeah, so
seal plates now
this
are
is
not
an
just a
I-beam
single flat piece
with
of
a
metal.
plate that's attached to the bottom of the beam. So in this photo, this is the plate, and this right here is where the beam should be.
And that's the beam that the floor for the 3rd floor is sitting, or the 2nd floor is sitting on?
This is at the ground level, so the second floor is bearing on that.
But you guys, not just the seal plate, you see the structural
Yeah.
metal behind the seal plate.
That's what this is.
That's my only question, sir.
Yep.
The way you made it sound originally, it was just the seal plate and that. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Come on.
Thanks, sir.
I'm Caleb Couch, and just want to say I'm all for redoing it. And if anybody's worried about the class sizes, when I was in elementary, that building wasn't even here, and what was it, 500 kids in the old part and that. So no one needs to worry about class sizes. We had double the amount of kids without the elementary. That's all I got.
And hopefully we will again.
So if you guys fix it out there, fix the 31 building, what are you gonna utilize it for, since it's only, you said 6 classrooms are being used for it? I know that we don't have a huge amount of students that are here, but how can we utilize it more often then and make it kind of like back into the community?
I think that's a great question that I'd love the opportunity to sit and look at and try and solve, right? How we can better utilize that, what other programs, what other courses we could offer. But I think that's an opportunity that would be presented that we would, as a team, would love to address.
Also gives us room for growth.
Absolutely. I'm good.
I mean, that'd be a heck of a comeback story to use that.
I know everybody's worried about the taxes going up, but I don't, maybe you're aware, but like Morgan County on a national spectrum is significantly lower than everyone on the national spectrum and Indiana. So I know we want to keep them low, and that's not a good excuse to raise our taxes, but we are in one of the lower, areas taxed. So we're lucky there that we're not like Hamilton and, up in Noblesville and something like that, where they're already astronomically high, and then they're going higher. So it's good to live in Morgan County.
Speaking of which, does your Morgan County income tax go towards any of the education? Because Morgan County has a high income tax.
For now, yes. However, that is going away, and actually,
Well,
I was in conversation with the other superintendents in the county today about going to our legislators to talk about that, but that is an issue. Yes.
So didn't the state give the local communities the ability to raise their income tax up to 2.5?
I would have to research that.
Which
Sir.
is the maximum?
Sure.
Right now, but does any of that money come to the schools?
It does currently. There's a small percentage that we receive, but that amount will go away here in the next 3 years.
I just kind of get the gist from what I'm hearing that it sounds like the people here are in favor of maintaining the old building. And so I would suggest we look into the Historical Society and various grants and things like that to see what kind of help we can get and move in that direction.
Thank you.
So a follow-up to her comment, where does that start? Who does that?
You volunteered, Richard.
I'll be meeting with you after this meeting. Sure. No, honestly, it would probably start with me, but I'm going to have to tag in other people and identify people who have a greater expertise in that area than I do to bring them into that conversation.
And that's why I invited Randy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right there?
That's why Randy's here.
Is there
help us.
federal and state grants you can apply for?
There are, but the people that I contacted the Indiana Landmark Association, and in doing that, the money for this year has already been spent. Randy has worked with them in the past, and they were the ones that gave me Randy's name and encouraged me to reach out to Randy from Morgan County. Because I feel as if this building belongs to Morgan County, right? This is Eminence building in Morgan County, and Morgan County should be able to help us. And so that's how we got tied in, that's how I got tied in with Randy. And I also encourage you, if any of you, I'm an educator too, so I have a good voice. I encourage you too, that if you know of people that could help us through this process, or know of grants, or get on and call people and see what you are even able to do, because I'm one person, and I was able to make that connection in an afternoon. It took me about an hour, and I was able to contact him. So I encourage you, if you know of people, if you know people at the state, if you know of people that are over those types of programs, please let us know, and please put them in contact with us.
I wonder if, I think Robin Hightower is president of the Alumni Association right now. I wonder if there's any way that we can wrap some of the alumni, maybe that have gone out into the world and made big, to help us, or help us make connections at least.
Those are all great ideas, yes. Because what it comes down to is funds. right? No one up here wants to tear down that building, but we have to think about the money, and that's why we're on this board, is because we look at the finances of this school, and it comes down to funds. And are we gonna be able to do it, right? Are we gonna be able to do it in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? I don't know, but that's what it comes down to. And that's why this meeting was so important, to let you know the funds that are ahead of us.
So if you do the referendum, the construction referendum, are those funds that you need available immediately, and then the taxes?
If the board gives me the direction that we want to pursue that, we'll tag into Baker Tilly and those others who have helped us in the past with the funding process, have them put their heads together because they deal with it every single day, and have them gather that information and bring presentations to us on what the best way to do that, and then we'll have better information to provide to you.
Can they do a GoFundMe? Seems like they're.
You can start one right now, sir.
Hey, how about your job raising money for the sign? I'll probably go for a building.
Okay, folks, I appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will have to adjourn officially here, but at this time I recommend we close comment. Yeah, comments from the board.
I wasn't a teacher, but I had to read, so I got so no, I want to thank everybody for coming out. This is obviously a big decision that we have to make. So we value the community's opinion and inputs and guidance for this. So we're going to explore all options. That's why we're here to understand what other options you guys are going to bring to our attention. This isn't a decision we're going to make overnight. And so we'll continue to evolve it as we go. So thank you everybody for attending. I appreciate it.
Yeah, to echo Jason, I think that it's important for us to hear your sentimental thoughts, your personal relationship to the building, your memories. I think that it's important for us as the board to understand where your thoughts are coming from, what your guts are telling you, your heart. We're taking everything into consideration, and Catherine mentioned funds, and that's a sensitive topic. Hanging out at Dairyland, that's something that people want to know. What's that going to look like? How much money, do we have to spend? How much money do we need to raise? And those are things that are going into this, because it is a very tight situation when it comes to the money that we have to spend, even just to fix the building. So to say that we're gonna try to raise $2.5 million, that's a lot of money that's gonna have to.
It'd be a lot cheaper to do it now than to figure on a 7 or 10 million down the road.
Right.
Understand.
Nobody wants the property taxes to go up. But to do $2.5 million now will probably be in the best interest of the community, the students, everybody involved. Then maybe go with 7 to 10 million in 5 or 6, 7 years or whatever. That's how I feel.
So, again, the whole thing has to be taken into perspective and figure out what is best for the community, what is best for the students, and their ability to get the education that they need safely.
I just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. Every word that you have said has been heard. I heard you tonight. And I want you to know that I will not take any decision lightly, and I never do on this board. This means a lot to me being on here, and I appreciate your input. I really appreciate Randy for being here. Last night I was able just to get a hold of him and make sure he knew about the meeting, because he's done a lot of this. This is his scope, and so I appreciate him being here. But yes, I just want to say that I appreciate you taking time tonight to be here.
Thank you all for being here. This is a decision that I don't think any of us are going to take lightly. We all hear you. Also, just the same way you guys came here, you can also come to our regular board meetings. It would be great to have those seats filled as well and hear your input on those things as well. Other than that, thank you for being here.
Thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate it. I think I'm 5th generation coming out of here, right, Mom? Got kids in the school, so that building means a lot to our family. And it's not something that you just tear down, in my opinion. You gotta figure out a way, in my personal opinion, to save it and make it right, but it has to make financial sense, obviously, and it has to be safe for our kids. One thing I do want to address real quick is I've got 3 or 4 texts in the last few days from neighboring communities, neighboring schools, members and board members, and our school is not closing down. We can house all of our kids safely. It must be a slow news week in Morgan County. But we can house all of our kids. They're going to get the same education, if not better, with the new people we've brought in and the older people that have been teaching here for a while. Tenure people. I'm excited about the school year, excited about the growth of the people coming, or the enrollment actually going up. I think we have the right leaders in place. I think the teachers are great, so I really do appreciate everybody coming. Even Jerry is here.
From my old opinion, I think that we have an amazing staff right now.
Woo!
I agree. K through 12. A lot of them are here tonight. We got a lot of new people in the community here tonight, but we got a lot of old homeowners, and I think that you guys know it's just as important to us as it is to you. So.
I would jump in here quickly too, and it's been a subject that's been touched on. Become advocates for Eminence. Go out and talk to your neighbors, talk to those people that you see when you're at Dairyland. Let them know all the good things that are going on at Eminence and encourage them to bring their kids or their grandkids or whoever, bring them here because we are Eminence and there's a lot of great things going on right now. We got the right people and I feel really confident that we are, it's not just, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. And it's an opportunity for us to grow, and we need you to team up with us in that process.
Thanks for the time y'all put in. I know this has taken a lot of brain power and time. We appreciate it. It is stress. Appreciated.
One last question,